it's Eric Koppenfuss. It's Friday, so it must be a buy day. And today, I want to start with letting everybody know that our episode of Pawn Stars Do America aired this past week from Providence, Rhode Island. So I know it's available on demand on the History Channel. Our book, Amanda, from this very room was the sort of featured tagline for the story.
Whoa.
Rick buys a book by President John Adams. And that's right, we sold him John Adams's Defense of the American Constitution from 1787. He loved the book. You can see it if you watch the show. He ends up buying it, and I do want to give a big thank you to Tony Haversteck, our binder from Lancaster. We'll link to the visit to the bindery in the bottom of this video. Tony is retired now, but he is the one that restored that book for me. Rebecca Romney, Rick's book appraiser on the show, said, Rick, you should buy this book because it's been so well restored.
Nice.
So way to go, Tony. You won't know this from the show, but we also were responsible for the other book that they bought on the episode. My brother actually sells them one of our other books from this room because I was only allowed to appear with one item, but I brought two. So it was either my brother or an extra from the crowd, and my brother was really happy to appear. The episode from Providence, Rhode Island, History Channel, and it's called Pawn Stars Do America because they're traveling America, finding amazing things. All right. Well, this week's episode, Amanda, is a follow-up to an episode that we did last year about the serious topic of abortion. And if you recall, right after the aftermath of the overturning of Roe v. Wade, I gave a rather impassioned buy day about why books from early America can tell us that abortion, so far from being criminalized, was actually widespread, safe, and not controversial for many years. I want to take that episode and sort of bring it up to the 20th century because we stop in the 1820s and 1830s, and we never really answered the question of, well, okay, that's all well and good, but when did abortion really become criminalized, and who was responsible for the changing of the definition from conception being at the quickening to conception at the moment of fertilization? There was one person, Amanda, who was responsible for both of those things.
Oh boy.
And we should talk a little bit about it because part of what we're doing here is we're saying, don't just rely on what a Supreme Court justice says about American history or what artificial intelligence has written and regurgitated in artifacts. Go back and read the primary sources if you really want to know how people felt. And the person we're going to start by talking about today is a gentleman by the name of Horatio Storer. And he, more than anyone else, is responsible for the criminalization of abortion in America.
Oh boy.
Now, he started a group called the Physicians' Crusade Against Abortion. Sounds sort of familiar? He used that term crusade about 100 years before Billy Graham was using the term crusade. And he used it in the 1850s before the American Civil War. And what's important about the crusade and our understanding of it today is that he did it because he had very conservative views about women and whether or not they belonged in the workforce. And he wrote that they did not. They should stay in the domestic sphere. And the best way to attack women outside the domestic sphere, at least in his mind, was to attack midwives and to attack the one area of medical science in which women actually had more control than men. And Storer was a gynecologist. He petitioned the American Medical Association, the AMA, to change their bylaws to say that abortion should be criminalized and that conception should begin before the quickening in an effort to undermine the power of the midwife. That was number one. Number two, he did it because he believed that all bad impulses from women, including the desire to have abortion in his mind, came from the fact that they were biologically women and they all emanated, unfortunately, from the ovaries or women's reproductive organs. And he wrote this little book here, which we have, which is pretty scary, called Insanity in Women. I'm going to open it up, and you can see that this is actually inscribed by Storer, who was a gynecologist in Boston, to another male gynecologist. And it basically talks about how all bad things are caused by women and are caused by women's biology. And that includes, unfortunately, being habitually thievish, profane, obscene, despondent, self-indulgent, shrewish. And do you know what his solution was?
As many babies as possible?
No, it was as many, sadly, as many ovarotomies as possible, as many sterilizations as possible. So he believed that the only way to cure insanity in women was to remove their ovaries. And he is responsible for some of the first cesarean sections, as well as first operations to remove ovaries in American history. And he did that simultaneously to passing laws in each and every state in the Union to criminalize abortion. And I want you to understand this, because today, if you go to like YouTube and search for Store, you're going to see the Catholic priests and others absolutely canonizing and idolizing Store as one of the great crusaders for equality and liberty in America. And Store was absolutely a misogynist who completely believed that women were inferior to men. He also believed that one of the reasons we needed to stop abortion was because the Anglo-Saxon race was going to be outnumbered, and we were going to start to see too many babies from immigrants, especially from those Catholic countries. We were going to see all sorts of problems. This is Store. This is the man who is considered the head of the pro-life movement at the time. Now, what's doubly scary is that our second book today is a book by the great female rights crusader Margaret Sanger. And the conservatives, while idolizing Store, had actually managed to get the left to sort of take back a lot of the praise that they used to have for Margaret Sanger. In fact, Clarence Thomas wrote an opinion that said Margaret Sanger was responsible for more African-American abortions than any other person. And did you know that Planned Parenthood completely caved, and in New York City they removed Margaret Sanger's name from their headquarters on Bleecker Street? And it's based on a complete misunderstanding of Margaret Sanger and abortion and eugenics. Now, if you want to talk about eugenics, you can talk about Store, right, who absolutely wrote an entire book about how you needed to sterilize women. But Sanger did not believe in that, and she did not believe in abortion. This is an amazing book. This is her first book, Amanda. And I want to show you a beautiful picture of Margaret Sanger and her children. Published by Brentano. She had a little trouble getting this book published. But she uses the term race, and this is what throws people off. You think, oh, well, it must be eugenics. And what she meant by race was, she meant that basically if you empowered women would choose to raise children in ways that respected women's rights. The most important force in remaking of the world is a free motherhood. That's what she's saying. She's saying that women can only do this when she is awakened to the knowledge of herself and the consequences of her ignorance. The first step is birth control, but voluntary motherhood and power. Now, you have to see somebody like Margaret Sanger reacting against Store, right? Now, she writes in this book that she's very much opposed to abortion. And the question is basically, you're either going to have unsafe abortions. Well, the question that society must answer is this: shall family limitation be achieved through birth control or abortion? So shall normal, safe, effective contraception be employed, or shall we continue to force women to the abnormal, often dangerous surgical operations? This is an incredible book, Amanda. It is a book of empowerment, a book of concern for equality. It is all those things. She did not believe in forced sterilization. She did not believe in abortion. She believed in birth control and giving power and choice to women. And she's been much maligned today. So if you want to understand the contemporary debate over abortion, which is so important now, especially in the aftermath of Roe v. Wade, I suggest you not take other people's comments about history for granted, and you read these books, and you can find all these books available here at the Midtown Scholar. Now, it's hard to end with a funny book, but we're going to do it. I'll just do it very quickly to say that, did you know that there is indeed a sequel to both Why Cats Paint and Why Paint Cats?
No, but I'm thrilled.
I had no idea, Amanda, until I found in our own store Dancing with Cats.
Wow.
And Dancing with Cats combines the best of Why Cats Paint and Why Paint Cats to basically argue that if you dance with your cat, that creative expression will show, again, insights into your very soul. Dancing with Cats, our funny book of the week. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you watch next week and every week for more adventures in the world of books.